there's a fear of letting people see you feel, because where I was grew up, you're taught you're not supposed to show feelings. Anger is okay, but sadness and fear and shame and those other emotions, embarrassment, no one taught me how to deal with that. How do we give people more room to say, I'm human? And there's so much more about me that you would never know by looking at me. Ever Forward Club started in 2004. I was a first year teacher, and in my class, I saw young men that were really smart, but they were failing my class. And I'm like, look, I can't watch you fail and just sit here and do nothing. So what I did is I invited some young men to lunch, and I said, look, I'll buy you lunch once a week. In exchange for lunch, you teach me how to be a better teacher. And what I learned from them was that, man, it ain't cool to be smart at this school. I'm not gonna be no nerd, no geek. Anything about smart to them was negative. And I realized that my role was to help them recognize that being smart was how they're going to graduate. And they began to show up every week. And so that was how Everforth started. It was a lunchtime cloud of young men coming together. And those conversations, those bonds is what really kicked it off. So I taught for 11 years. I became a dean at my old high school. So 20 years after I graduated from Fremont High School, I went back there to be the dean. And there were young men who were, I saw again, really smart. And I saw them walking around all the time during advisory. They were getting kicked out of advisory. The person on the campus who's supposed to have your back the most, how are you getting kicked out of there? And so I said to the principal, look, I need to make an advisory of all these kids who are walking around during the advisory period. I'm taking them in. I knew that there was stuff going on behind what they were showing. I knew that if I could help them to break down, because they were all going through similar stuff, different but similar stuff, but they didn't let each other see that. So I said, well, look, what if I can get them to talk about it without talking about it? What if I can write it? And then we did this activity where they threw the pieces of paper at each other. They wrote on the front, here's what I let the world see about myself. And on the back, here's what I don't let people see. And man, it was amazing. That is when the room began to settle in after that. I was like, oh man, this is working. And so what we're trying to do with this work is, like, when we do workshops with people, we have them take these masks and they mix them up. And they end up with somebody else's mask. And they're like, oh my goodness, somebody else in here is dealing with this? Oh my gosh. And then you see the room really recognize, oh, we're more alike than we are different. I want our community and society to be a place where men have the permission to feel. I know that we're not ready for it, so how do we just make sure we have spaces for men to do it while society is getting ready? I think for our young men, like I tell them, look, we create this safe space for you so that when you go out back to your life, if it is a place that is not safe for you to be unmasked, then you got to know how to put it back on. If we can get to a place where we can take it off, where can you begin finding the other places that you can take it off too? Where if I'm hanging around with a bunch of friends who I always got to pretend who I am and what I like and what's important to me, then maybe I need to find another group of friends where I can start being more of myself. Giving a space to take off the mask gives them some freedom and gives them some more awareness. And I think we all can use a little bit more freedom and awareness and a lot more love, for ourselves, for our communities, for each other. I think that's powerful.